Greatest title ever, right? Tell me this shit ain't the greatest fucking title you're ever gonna see, and I'm telling you right now, YouTube auditor, don't fuck with my shit. Go back to your corner, keep fucking yourself, because I have a new asshole to tear into Bungie Vision over all this bullshit. And obviously, last week, Bungie Vision had their stream over what's happening in the Taken King and whatnot. And I'm gonna say this, 90% of that shit is fantastic. About 90% of those announcements are things that should have been in the game in the first fucking place. And that should have been part of the $60 product we paid for almost 1 fucking year ago. The vault space increase is probably the most appreciated item across the board. And the implementation of the emblems as collector's items or whatever the hell certainly helps along with the shaders and shit and all the other valuable accumulated shit we have that's been bullshit in this fucking game. Combining the marks was great, mainly because I said they should do that shit. Y'all remember my quick blueprint series? One of the changes I wanted was combining those two items because it didn't make any fucking sense to have them separate. So they took one of my fucking ideas and pretended they just created some amazing shit. Either way, if I thought of it first, you know it's going to be working. It's going to be a fantastic idea. The leveling system is changing to something normal, so that's about fucking time. No more gear determining your rank, which was fucking stupid. Now the game works like every other fucking game on the market, like it's supposed to. Bounty slots are increasing. They're also adding some more bounties, different bounties, reworking Crucible bounties to offer up more Nightfall level type rewards and shit like that. Ghost shells and class items will actually do something as opposed to being worthless pieces of shit like they were in the fucking game before. The factions have finally sorted out their logic. Finally! I mean, of all the fucking things in the game that just didn't work, it was the factions. You wear a Titan ass towel, you beat some enemies in the environment with that ass towel, yet you can't buy anything from the faction unless you played the Crucible. How fucking confused was that shit, man? Now it makes a little more logical sense. You pledge to a faction, you have your experience count towards that faction as well as the other vendors. You buy some shit with the collective marks or legendary marks, whatever they're gonna be calling this shit. That's logical. Took 1 fucking year to get here though. That's one of the problems. Gunsmith is becoming important again with his own rank up system. Crypt Troll will actually sell legendary items since he's a cheap fucking cunt. Shacks in our site will have their own bounties, which I mentioned before. And one of the biggest things that Bungie is touting is the quest system on how to do all the missions. Everyone seems to be getting quests, which may or may not be the same shit as before. Hey, who the fuck knows? Personally, I just think it looks like they're slapping a checklist interface on all the shit we've already done. All the past 20 story missions, 25 story missions when you include the DLC, whatever the shit is. But, fuck it. At least it's something a little different compared to the stale shit that we've been doing since day one. All of this is great. All of this is what the game needed since day one. But we have to now pay $40 to get some of this shit. Now the fanboys will say that Bungie Vision is listening and they made changes, but people still aren't happy. The haters will say, do people still play this game? But the realistic people in the middle like me will say that all of this shit is great and that we're finally getting it. It just sucks that it took 1 full fucking year to get to this point, and it's being added as an expansion pack as opposed to just fixing this shit with some patches, updates, or whatever the hell it is after having paid for this game for a full fucking year, which felt like a goddamn beta. However, I don't want to talk about the good shit. I don't want to talk about that 90%. What I want to focus on is that 10%. That 10% is the kick in the dick that I mentioned. Bungie Vision is rolling out a full body massage, hot stones, herbal oils, deep tissue treatment, and bam, a kick in the fucking dick. We already knew that hard-earned legendaries were not carrying over. You know, because this game was filled with so much content the first fucking year that those guns aren't relevant anymore. We grinded the fuck out of Vaults of Glass for months in order to get to level 30 to collect the 9 best goddamn guns in the game and get our chance without exotic chests, only to find out that the grinding to keep us playing has now been rendered pointless. We knew that before the stream, those guns weren't carrying over. What we didn't know was what was going to happen to exotics. Bungie has decided that some, not all, some will carry over to a year 2 blueprint and receive year 2 worth of damage. When the damage guns can do increases, only select exotics will be able to reach that full power. Others are staying behind, stuck in their year 1 damage. And the determining factor as to which guns or exotics get the upgrade, we have no fucking clue. What the fuck kind of arbitrary bullshit is this? Somewhere at Bungie Vision's office, some asshole, a group of assholes, decided that certain exotics were worthy of being upgraded while others weren't. Hey Jimbo, what do you want to do with that year 2 upgrade and shit like that? Well, gee Scott, I don't know. Hey Bob, do you have any ideas on what should we do to select them? How about all of them? What the fuck? That's crazy talk. Why would we want to do something uniformly across the board? Why don't we do something 100% when everything Destiny has done to this point is half-assed? Okay, how about this? How about we put all the exotics on a wheel, we spin it, and we see which ones comes up. Fuck me, that's brilliant. This is the logic. There's no rhyme or reason as to why certain guns or armor are being selected other than some motherfucker liked it. Why does the Suros get an upgrade but hard-lighted won't? Why does Dragon's Breath get an upgrade but not the Gjallarhorn? The only semi-coherent explanation, because Bungie doesn't explain shit when it comes to their design decisions, is that some of the exotics were terrible in year 1 and they're giving them a buff so that there's a reason to use them in year 2. Because if you were to buff all of them, the same problems that they had in year 1 would carry over to year 2 and nobody would fucking use this. Otherwise, if you change them all, some of those guns would still be shitty. But this is what pisses me off, and this is why shit is not uniform across the board. You either upgrade them or you don't upgrade any. Don't tell me the Suros is going to be this new badass weapon with new features and perks that we haven't seen, yet the Mighty Tool is getting no fucking love. Don't piss on my head and tell me it's fucking raining, because this makes zero, I mean zero, fucking sense to pick and choose which weapons become more powerful. Bungie says, become legend, craft your own path in their limited and lifeless fucking world, yet it has to be played how they want you to play it. Here's a sandbox, except all you can do is use this one fucking pail to make sandcastles all goddamn day long. And the sandcastle will fall apart every Tuesday, and you need to do that shit all over again. Fuck you, man. It's one thing to tell us the legendaries weren't carrying over. I did a video on how they could roll that out, but of course my ideas are far too superior to Bungie to fucking listen to. But that was a blanket downgrade to all the legendaries. With exotics, some are getting better and some are staying the same. Some are getting more damage and some stay at the older damage and won't be a factor in the DLC. You know, do you go into a classroom and say, some of you are going to go to gym class today and others are going to sit here and learn fucking chemistry? And the logic behind that is based on who someone likes? Does that shit happen? No, of course not. Either they upgrade it all as a group or none of them at all should be upgraded like a legendary. Now here's the thing. If I had to guess, and this is purely guesswork, I have a feeling that the ones that are upgrading are the ones that they already finished with this design. The other ones are the shit that they haven't gotten to, or they haven't figured out how to make a year 2 decent gun. Yes, you heard it to me right. Yet, if I had to guess, Bungie is going to upgrade these guns in the future, in the next DLC or whatever the case it is. Because if anything Bungie does, they do a half-assed job selling us incomplete products, and then they sell us the other half later. I can all but guarantee this is exactly what's going to happen. And when they do roll out the next version of guns, Bungie's going to say, oh, well, we listened to the community because you guys asked for these guns in the past. Bullshit. If you listened to us in the first fucking place, back when the Dark Below released and releveling all our exotics pissed people the fuck off, then you would know that this is the kind of shit that infuriates your goddamn community, you bunch of assholes. Their own fucking update back on December 4th even recognized how pissed off players were. Deej, on behalf of Bungie in that update, recognized players' hard work should be taken into account and that they should respect the time we invested into this fucking game. They said that shit in their own fucking update, except here we are 9 months later and they're ignoring their own fucking statement, arbitrarily picking one item over the others as opposed to letting us choose what we want to upgrade is the fucking problem. You keep saying become legend, create your own path, but unfortunately everything has to be played with Bungie Vision's restricted and brain fuckingly stupid logic. Now when you visit the Bungie forums or Reddit or any other media that discusses this change, you'll see that there are going to be people on both sides of this argument. People who are like me, pissed off that exotics are split into different damage components for no fucking reason at all. Then you get the people who are going to defend shit like this. And the defense of Bungie Vision always comes in 3 forms, and this shit never fails. The first defense, the complaints about the exotics are all about the Gjallarhorn. To be quite honest, the Gjallarhorn is the main weapon that people are going to be pissed off about. My argument goes deeper than just one gun, as you've seen. What constitutes the decision to move some guns ahead and keep others back? Why do certain guns get the year 2 treatment while other guns get the year 1 treatment and have to do the walk of shame back home? This isn't an issue about one gun. This isn't an issue about just the Gjallarhorn. It's an issue of principle. Why the exotics are being split up arbitrarily. And as I mentioned, my guess is they're going to be doing these upgrades to them eventually, but it's just utterly fucking stupid and pointless to split up the process when you could just add more content to your already existing game. Plus, there are idiots who will say that the newest heavy exotic, Sleeper Stimulant, is going to replace the Gjallarhorn, but you know what? I have a wait-and-see approach on that. You know, this is the problem. Whatever turns out to be the most powerful weapon in the game, that's the one people are going to use. If they remove the Gjallarhorn and the Thunderlord all of a sudden becomes the most powerful gun in the game, people are going to use the Thunderlord. If they would remove the Gjallarhorn and all of a sudden the Truth, Dragon's Breath, patience and time, whatever the fuck it is, if any one of these guns became the most powerful weapon in the game, that's the one people are going to use anyway. But the idiots who defend Bungie Vision only focus on one part. They're not focusing on the lack of transparency, which is the main issue of the argument, not the power of one fucking gun. Now, reply number 2 from brain dead fuckheads is the one that I've had to debunk numerous times. Oh, you've never played an MMO before because MMOs don't carry equipment. Oh, shut the fuck up, you cunt cheese sniffing motherfucker. Destiny is not an MMO. Never has, never will be. It takes some inspiration from MMOs, there's no question about that. It has certain things in common with MMOs, but for every comparison someone can make with an MMO, you can equally do so with other games like Borderlands, Skyrim, Mass Effect, and other games that are not MMOs. The biggest difference between Destiny and an MMO is that an MMO game will always work in perpetuity off the original disc or the content. When you buy World of Nerdcraft or Final Fantasy XIV or whatever the fuck it is that you buy, you keep that original source, and the content released afterwards is the new content, new expansions that add on to your existing game. But at no point do you ever receive a different or new original source material. You bought it already, and your game grows off of that original source content. Destiny is going to have a Destiny 2 on a separate disc. It's in their contract that they've already signed with Activision, and there is no doubt another disc is coming, practically confirmed by Activision and Bungie themselves. It is completely separate from what's going to occur in this game. MMOs do not have a part 2 disc, and if they did, it's a completely new and different world. If World of Nerdcraft were to create a part 2 game, you're not going to stay on the same world. You're going to go to something completely different, and all of your content that you store in that game is going to be completely erased because now you're on a different journey. Destiny is not going to continue with just one disc. It's going to be sold over multiple discs, so that's why this DLC is pissing people off. It's also why it's a fucking ripoff. But that alone is the biggest difference between these two. So when MMOs lose their content, it's not because, oh hey, that's how MMOs work. It's because expansion packs and MMOs, which come out every, 2 or 3 years or so like that, are basically the new version of the game. Destiny already has a new version on the horizon, and it'll be a new disc. It'll be similar to what Mass Effect does and how you carry your story over. The progress you're making here with your character will ultimately convert into something else in Destiny 2. But again, the naysayers will say that disc-based games are different because your progress is stored on a database and you'll always need to be online. To which I say, how is this different than what Call of Duty did when it came to recognizing your accomplishments in prior games? So Modern Warfare 3 was doing the whole XP token system shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Where they had to see if you prestige in Call of Duty 4, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops 1. It knew our history. Why? Because that online portion of the game was stored online. Just because single player is melded with multiplayer in Destiny doesn't mean shit. It just means your progress and characters are stored on a server in the same way any other online game has their data stored on a server if they ever want to go back and reference it. So no, Destiny is not an MMO. It has never been an MMO. It has similar parts to an MMO, it has roots in MMO, but it will never be an MMO. And all the other games that are on consoles also have similarities to Destiny. So when you want to make comparisons, sure, you can make comparisons to Destiny and World of Warcraft, but you could also make that same comparison to Destiny and Mass Effect. This game is not an MMO, and that argument will never fucking work. The final bullshit that people will say, why do you want to play with the same guns for 10 years? This is by far the stupidest shit anyone has said, mainly because this issue isn't about asking for guns in 10 fucking years, it's asking about guns in the second year of the game. You get 1 year with guns, or in the case of House of Wolves, 5 months? Really? Really? 5 months and then fucking useless? How hard is it to understand? Players aren't asking for a gun for 10 years, as opposed to the years the first disc is still fucking viable. Part of this bullshit response goes back to my last point. Destiny 2 is coming down the road. It's on another disc. It's a completely different game. Similar to any sequeled game that has content on different discs. What people are asking for is that our current guns stay relevant as long as we have the current disc. I don't care about what happens 10 years from now, but what I do care about is what's happening to my content just 1 fucking year later. The Taken King isn't a brand new game. They're trying to treat it like a brand new game, but it's an extension of an existing product on an existing disc. It is not a fundamentally new scope of work. It is tacked on to the original product on the original disc. Why would I want content on my disc to be made useless just because something new is coming out? Get the fuck out of here. Think about this. For someone who isn't buying the Taken King, someone that just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm not paying for this shit, but I still want to play Destiny. I'm not sure why the fuck they would do that, but let's roll with this idea. There will be guns coming out to the general public that will be stronger than what they will have in their current inventory. So if you only want to do the content up to the House of Wolves, then all of your guns will do the same damage as before. Not a problem. However, new guns will be introduced anyways, regardless of whether or not you're going to buy that shit, and it's going to make your older guns not the most powerful content in the game. So even for people not paying for the Taken King that still want to play parts of Destiny, they will still have their paid content castrated in the first place. I paid for House of Wolves. I paid my $20 to play that cheap Prison of Elders crap. So why is it shit that I'm not paying for is gonna make my paid content less powerful? It doesn't make any fucking sense. I don't care about Destiny 2 or Destiny 3 in the future. If my Icebreaker, my Galahorn, my Suros, my Mythic class, they don't move over to games, it's not a big deal because it's on a different disc. But to tell me that my guns now are useless now, after just 1 year, after specifically seeing how pissed off fans were after Dark Below, after writing about how they understood Guardian's time invested shouldn't be respected, it shows Bungie Vision is not listening. Again, it shows they have not let that shit sink into their fucking heads. We don't want our time invested pissed on. We really fucking don't. And as I said, the funny thing is, I can all but guarantee you already see what's coming. Our guns are going to be crap in the Taken King until Bungie finally pulls their head out of their ass and they says, oh, and the next DLC will allow you to take all of these guns over to year 2. And this is the ice cream that I was talking about. They're kicking us in the dick now with all of this fucking gun castration, but in the future, they're going to apologize with ice cream. They're going to allow us to eventually ascend all of these guns to the new damage. But again, it's going to be in another paid DLC release. Now, I'm sure for those who listen to this shit, those who don't play Destiny, those who stop playing Destiny, the most obvious solution that people are going to say is, besides never playing Destiny again, is why not just wait until all the content is released? Why not just wait until the final DLC? Personally, I hate this suggestion as a solution. Why bother getting anything when you could just wait until the final one is released, or the Trilogy of the Year edition or the Grand Finale edition or whatever the case may be? Why buy Mass Effect when you can get the entire trilogy on just one disc? Why pay $60 for Call of Duty when you can pay $20 for it next year and have it come with all the DLC that they released after the fact? The reason why I hate this argument is that it's a never-ending journey down the rabbit hole. Why buy something now when you can do it after everything has been released? Well, because people want to enjoy it now when it's new and fresh. People want to experience the content early as opposed to buying it later and having nobody to play with in the future because everyone has already played that old content and doesn't want to come back to it shit. You know, in a game like this, being always online and needing others to complete endgame content, you can't complete a raid by yourself other than Crota, it's nothing like a game with a campaign where you could just beat a campaign at any time. If I wanted to buy all the Batmans or all the Assassin's Creed at one time, I could play all the stories back to back on my own with no reason to ever venture into multiplayer parts of the game, since the crux of their content was the campaign. Destiny's best parts require teammates and friends. It requires online co-op and requires you to be active in the game to experience everything. So the solution of buy it later or be cheaper doesn't resolve the issue in full now, because you will have content with limited appeal from others to help you through all that endgame content. People now are going to want to play the Vault of Glass. People now are going to want to really do Crota. And to ask them 3 or 4 years down the road, hey, you want to do that Vault of Glass? No, motherfucker, you're on your own. For that, you might as well not buy it at all. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who invested their time into Destiny who are thinking that it's time to move on. To what game? Who the fuck knows? Maybe Fallout, maybe Metal Gear, maybe Black Ops Destiny Edition. Oh man, doesn't it seem like Treyarch contacted Destiny on what they wanted to add to their fucking... I ain't gonna get into that shit, man. But in the end, Bungie Vision's decisions are what will drive people away from this game. Never mind the price of things, but their decision to continue to render players' time invested to nothing is what will piss people off who base their time as principle as opposed to potential. This is what's going to be the driving force that forces long-time players, year one players, to finally say, you know what, I'm tired of the kicks in the dick, I don't want your fucking ice cream, go fuck yourself like a YouTube owner. Anyways, later today there's going to be the other Destiny reveal over Twitch or whatever the fuck it is. I'm sure I'm going to watch it, and I'm sure there's going to be something in there that I'm going to be bitching about, although it is going to be the strike showing how they're going to improve that shit in the future, blah, blah, blah. Don't give me that fucking crap. But anyways, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit, and I'll see you guys in the next video.